Hello YouTube, SentinalhMC here, back again working on the Wizard Manor. So, let's get straight into this. What should we talk about this episode? What other random things can we discuss? Well, Rotary Craft tutorial, that's going really well. That's pretty much... And I've already gotten a request for talking about the weapons. That was really quick. It was the same guy who who asked me before. Wants to see the weapons, which I don't blame him because the weapons are pretty darn cool. But here we are with more Wizard Manor. I got some stone brick stairs and stone brick other things to go ahead and build the this bit on this side. So we'll start there. Nope, this is the wrong place. Gotta go out here. I was watching more Magic Police today from Shin and Duncan, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to. Nope, that's not right. I'm going to work on my Wizard Manor. That's a really funny series. They don't know what they're doing really with Ars Magica, and then they're terrorizing people. And I think that is correct, yeah. 1, 2, and then the next one here will be 3. Yes, indeed. And I've already decided what I'm going to do with this. Another thing I'm going to do with this roof. Now I got to go up like 4. Yeah. So tall. That. People said that there was a way that you could like hold space, and then these boots would like lower you to the ground slowly if you held space. That doesn't seem to be working. I don't know. I know the boots are what's making me not take fall damage, but I still am not 100% sure on how to activate it because it doesn't seem to work every single time. Okay, so next step is to make more stairs of the stone brick variety. Stone brick stairs. Probably going to need all of these. Got my nice dirt scaffolding. And then connect these two ends together. Oh, I may as well go ahead and... Oh, I left my marble down there. I don't know. These boots are confusing me. There's my marble. Let's head up. I'm glad I didn't mess that up. I felt like I was going to for a sec. Build. Oops. That's not. I'll go grab that later. And this is going to be the actual. This section of wall is going to go all the way up. Let's just go ahead and build the ones that are not. Should be, yeah, this one. Put that there. So, let's see. Topics of conversation? I don't really know. I played a new game. I played a game recently that I hadn't ever played before, and I wanted to play it. It's an old adventure game. It's called I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. It's based on the short story of the same name, and it is one of the most depressing games that ever existed, because the story is one of the most depressing sci-fi stories ever. Really, really depressing story. And in the actual story there's no happy ending. In the game there is a you wouldn't call it a happy ending, but it's the good ending. It's the ending you want to get. That's the best one. But it's fine because even though the original story had an unhappy ending, it's okay that they put a somewhat decently not a happy ending, but somewhat good ending in the game, because the game was actually the author of the story was actually directly involved in the creation and the writing of the game. So the game is basically it provides backstory for all of the characters, so it's almost like a spiritual prequel, but not really. It's pretty separate from but it does make a lot of references. Basically, if you're not familiar with I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, which you only be familiar with it if you're a fan of old school adventure games. That's what it is, one of those old school clicky adventure games. And it really is an old school adventure game. It was made, way back when, and it shows because a lot of the solutions to puzzles are very illogical. I mean, that was the trend. I mean, like, it seems to me like adventure games have and this is going to morph into a conversation about adventure games, but adventure games seems to have, and it's my favorite genre, by the way, seem to have morphed over time. Over the years, people have become less, what would be the right term? They're less accepting of, well, they're more critical about adventure games where the solutions to puzzles make no logical sense or are completely arbitrary. So back in the day, you take like a bunch of seemingly completely irrelevant items and combine them together and get the object that you wanted to make, or you wanted to get. Like, you could combine, I don't even know what, but you'd get an axe out of it, even though there's no way, like, it doesn't make any sense that those items would go together to make an axe. Whereas with more modern adventure games, of which there aren't very many, but there are some very good ones, the answers to the solutions to the puzzles are usually a bit more obvious, or a bit more, if not obvious, when you do finally figure it out. You tend to have the thought of, why didn't I figure that out sooner, rather than how the heck was I supposed to figure that out? There's some Hecates around here, or Hecates, I don't know how you pronounce it, but I hate those things. Old school adventure games were filled with those moments of how the heck was I supposed to figure that one out, whereas ones like Broken Age comes to mind. Although Broken Age was really easy. Like, if you grew up playing adventure games like I did, Broken Age was very, very easy. The episode 1 to get through, and for the most part, stuff made sense, even though there were quite a few wacky parts of the game where you think that they might have put in puzzles that were a bit less obvious, but no, they were all pretty easy to solve. But the old school things like Monkey Island, man. I actually haven't played Monkey Island, and I know as a fan of adventure games that's like a sacrilege. I need to play Monkey Island, but I just have never gotten my hands on it. There's a creeper down there. Save me, Boots. Ah, there we go. So that was far enough. I guess you got to fall from a certain height. So that worked. Now let's hit F7 and find out where on here I might get monsters spawning and placed down. If you didn't know about this, you can hit F7 and all these X's are showing areas where monsters can spawn. Yellow ones, they can spawn during the night, and red ones, they could spawn at any moment. So let's finish lighting the inside of this up so I don't have to worry about that. Yeah, I definitely knew I needed one over here. That's pretty good. I don't have to worry about too much else there, I don't think. So getting back to I Have No Mouth but I Must Scream, the reason it's such a depressing story is because, for one, it's a post-apocalypse, and post-apocalyptic stories are usually quite sad. But this one's even worse because the world is destroyed. It's completely uninhabitable, and there are only 5 people left. And that would be pretty bad by itself, but what makes it even worse is that those 5 people have been captured by the insane AI that actually destroyed the world, and he is punishing them for all eternity because he has technology that he can use to keep them alive. And at the time that the story picks up, he has been torturing them for 109 years. So, imagine, you know, you've survived the apocalypse. Yeah, unfortunately, you're going to be tortured forever. So it's pretty bad. In the story, it doesn't work out very well for anybody, because what ends up happening is that the like when I say torture them, in the story, the AI does things like promising them food, but then when they finally get to the food, because basically the premise of this story is that it was during the Cold War, right, where they needed to be able to wage war on a much larger scale. The war was becoming too complicated for people to be able to manage it by themselves, you know. So they created a computer system that could manage the war for them. But then the computer went nuts and just killed everybody. Yep. And the computer, and we're talking a massive computer. We're talking the computer that is that fills. I'll just take the whole stack. Apparently, the entire center of the Earth, like the entire Earth, has been underground, has been crisscrossed with these tunnels that are filled with this computer's components. We're talking the biggest computer ever. Where basically the Earth is now a computer. Is essentially what is happening there, and the computer is crazy and hates humans, hates them a lot. And when I say a lot, I mean a lot. There's quite an awesome line in the story where the computer explains to them how much he hates them, and it's really awesome. The description, he's like, there's 340 something million miles of printed circuits that make me up, and if you engraved hate onto every micro angstrom of those, it wouldn't even be 1/1000th of the hatred that I feel for you, which is pretty ridiculous. The author of the story had a really good way with words. It was really cool. In the game, you take control of each of the 5 characters, and you get to pick which order you do them in. And why is I hear a Hecate? He's probably under there, actually, which would be really annoying. But the computer puts you into a bunch of simulations, but they're pretty real. You know, you can actually die, but he won't let you die. And these simulations basically are confronting each of these people with their greatest fears, and they have to overcome their fears. And that's what you have to do in the game. In the story, he's just torturing them for fun. And in the story, in the game, you can actually defeat him. In the story, nobody wins. Let's be honest, nobody wins. It's pretty awful what happens in the end. Okay, so I don't have enough of the stone bricks to do what I need. So let's just look at all these patches. He's got an axe. Wow, they really wanted to go into my house. Oh, that's what happened. I'm touch digging my doors. Did he take my door? Oh, he did. Jerk. Jerk took my door. I accidentally dug it off the wall, and the pet took it. Oh well. I'll just make another one. Right, because they pick up anything that they, anything that they touch. There we go. Another carpenter's door. Oh. I have to have both of them and then play it. Okay, so that worked out there. I gotta remember not to have this in my hand when I do that. Man, there are so many patches around here. Slime Island, here's a piggy. So yeah, it's a really depressing game. And it's got really adult themes in it, so... Like, one of the characters she's a computer scientist, and she's afraid of the color yellow, right? And so it's like, what the heck is up with that? Why are you afraid of the color yellow? And she doesn't even remember. But as you play the game, you discover that she was in an elevator at her job in 2012, because this game actually, the story actually takes place in 2012. And while she was in the elevator, she was the victim of rape by a fake maintenance man who was wearing a yellow outfit. So yeah, the game's got some pretty heavy stuff, which is why it's so depressing. One of the characters was a Nazi doctor in World War II, and he was Jewish, but he turned his own parents into the Nazis, and then he started performing experiments. He was working alongside Joseph Mengele, and and then he was cursed to have a terrible memory, so he completely forgot all the terrible things that he did. But then he had to, relive them. Yeah, so that was really depressing. So yeah, you should play that game if you're a fan of adventure games, because the story and writing is just awesome, and the author of the original short story actually voices the computer. His name's Am, which it actually voices him, which is pretty awesome, I thought. But on a slightly actually no, I don't think I have a slightly less depressing note, because the other game that I played recently was Primordia, and I'm getting these games from the GOG. GoodOldGames.com is having their summer flash sale, where like every hour there's a bunch of new games, a bunch of games that are on sale for like crazy amounts off, like 90% off, although it's not that, yeah, like 80 to 90% off. And then after the hour they're not on sale anymore, and it goes to some other games, which is pretty darn awesome. So I picked up a game called Primordia, and if you've ever played it, it's another adventure game. And it's really, really good. It's more recent. It's by Wadget Eye Games, and they've made some pretty good ones. And I really liked it. It was a cyberpunk, another post-apocalypse, but it was our apocalypse, and the characters in the game are robots. And I really, really liked the universe that they created, and the world that they created, and the lore behind it. It was actually really, really good. It's cool how the robots naming conventions. So they don't have, well, they have first and last names, but the last name is based on who built them. So like the main characters, his name is Horatio Nullbuilt, because he doesn't know who built them. So null is 0, obviously, and but you'll meet people like Oswald and Cornelius Factor-built, because they were built by a robot called Factor. And your companion Crispin, his name is Crispin Horatio built. So I really liked that naming convention where their last name is who built them. I think that's really cute, really cool. So let's fill these back up with stone and coal. Gotta take the stone out of here so it can process the whole stack. And there we go. So we got more stone cooking up. In the meantime, let's see, we have not very much, but we have some. So let's make maybe 14 and then 16. Because I need to hop back up here. And then this needs to come over here. Well, where'd it go? My inventory, it's freaking out. And then this needs to go there and there. And then I need to fill this in, but I need to get more wood for that. I know the process of building in survival. Takes a while, but it is quite fulfilling. Because you've had to gather the resources, and it's taken, and you do get a big sense of accomplishment building. Even it's funny because in creative mode you get a big sense of accomplishment from finishing a build that you have been working on for quite some time, or something that you are really working hard on. And for me anyway, that tends to be very large builds. But when you're when you're in survival, I find that even very small builds, small relative to the size of creative mode builds, feels just as fulfilling because you've had to do a lot of extra work to do it, which is cool. So that's all the time I've got for this episode, and just working on the roof, and that's going to be the same for a couple of episodes because this roof is so big. If you want me to just finish the roof off camera, I will, but I kind of wanted to record everything. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one. I'm SentinalH, and I'm signing out.